So this is the tutorial for the Langquest translation app. And so this is what it looks like. You can find it on the Google Play Store and the App Store, and it is free. So this is what it'll prompt you to when you first open it up. You can choose the language that you want the app to be displayed in. Right now we just have these 3 languages, and hopefully we'll have more in the future. So I'm just going to pick Modern English and hit check and accept. And then it will prompt you to this little guide of what this app is all about. And you just hit continue. And then you can actually record any content on this app. You can do songs, you can do stories. If that is the reason why you're downloading the app, you would hit other. But for most of our cases, we're going to be translating the Bible, and so we will click Bible. And then it's just showing you that you can select the books that you want to translate and the chapters. This will come up later in the tutorial. So I'm just going to keep hitting continue. You can also work together on different projects. So for example, if you have people who speak the same language and you're translating the Bible into that language, but you live in different villages or towns or just are at different locations, you can be working on the same project, but collaborating on which books you are doing. So for one example, one group can be doing the book of Genesis and other could do the book of Exodus. And so you can collaborate, but you're working on the same project. So when you sync the translations, which I will show you, you will all see that progress. So I'm just going to hit continue. And then it's going to prompt you to sign in or create an account. If you are new to the app, you're going to hit create account and use your email and create a password and sign in. So I'm just going to sign in. And this is what it will look like when you create your account. So obviously there are no projects yet. Actually at the top you can see that it says all projects, and these are all the projects that are available to the public on the app. And so you can view them, you can see them, but you do not have access to edit them. But you're going to go to My Projects and create a new project. So you hit this plus sign. For project name, you can do the language. So I'm just going to do test language. And here you would pick the language that you are doing. And if you cannot find your language, you can actually create a new language. There we go. Create new language, and you would just hit add this as a new language and it will create it as a new language. But for the sake, we're just going to do English. And then we are also going to click Bible. Unstructured means if you're going to record stories or songs, then you can do unstructured. But for most of our cases, we're going to be translating the Bible. So click Bible. You can also toggle this toggle here at the bottom. If you want your project private, you can keep it private. But if you want it public and you want other people to listen to it and view it, you can untoggle that. But for the sake, we're just going to do private since it's just a test. So I'm going to hit create, and there you go. There's a project, test language. These symbols here, the first one on the left is a hard drive, and that just shows that it is just on your phone, like it's not published yet. The lock shows that it is a private project and it's not accessible to the public. People need permission to access it. The book icon shows that it is a Bible, that it is scripture that you are translating. And the crown means that you are the owner of the project. So now I am going to just click the project, and this is what it will take you to. So you can see all the books of the Bible. And this plus sign on each one of the chapters shows that nothing has been recorded in any of these chapters. Once you start recording a chapter, that plus sign will go away. So let's go to Genesis chapter 1. Here's all the chapters. Chapter 1, and it's going to ask you to confirm. So you hit confirm. And then it'll take you to this screen and you hit the red record button at the bottom. And then you have to give permission to your microphone. So hit that red button at the bottom that says grant microphone and allow. And then it's also going to prompt you to auto calibrate. And so this will just help with the settings that pick up the sound, like how much sound the microphone is picking up, and then also the pauses between each verse, because it'll break it up in segments. I will show you what that looks like. So you can auto calibrate it. You can see that it put the red line at the very far right because that's where my voice is going. So we will see if that is accurate. And then you can see the bottom, there's the pause length. You can adjust that. You can make it longer. You can make it shorter. I would say 0.2 seconds or 0.3 seconds is the best. It is dependent on each person and how fast or slow you talk, but that is just basically determining where the segments are broken up. If you pause for 0.2 seconds, then it will recognize that and it'll break into a new segment, which will make more sense as I show you the recording. So I'm just gonna hit done at the bottom and we'll see if these settings are accurate. So there are two different ways you can record. You can just press the purple button and record like segment by segment. So you have to keep your finger on the microphone button for each segment, or you can slide it to the right and let go and just keep recording through the whole chapter. That's what I'm gonna do, and you can see what that looks like. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Okay, now I'm just gonna keep talking because you can see that there are no red lines showing up on that purple dotted line at the bottom. There should be. So if that's not happening, if you don't see that, like if I hit stop, you see there's no assets, no segments were recorded because it's not picking up my voice. And that's just because the auto calibration wasn't the greatest. And sometimes that happens with iPhone. I just wanted to show you that because that might happen to you and you might have to go in and manually adjust. So if that is the case, I would suggest turning it down to about the middle and then testing it out from there. If the person that is reading from the Bible, if their voice is getting picked up, you might need to turn this down as well so that it only picks up the voice that's close to the mic. So I'm just going to put it right there and that should be good. And I'm going to hit done. Now let's try this again. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the deep waters. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. In the beginning, so you see all the segments are here. Now, it didn't play all the way through, so I'm going to hit these 3 bars at the top right corner, and then I'm going to go to Settings, scroll down, and there's this tab that says Play All Assets. I'm going to toggle that on so that it plays all the segments through. There's another one right below that says Quest Export. I'm also going to turn that on, and that will enable us to share with our friends or community when we do the community check to test for accuracy. So now I'm going to go back to projects, back to Genesis 1, and you could see there that there's a hard drive there now, and that shows that you have started recording that one. And this is what it'll look like, and I'm going to hit this pencil button at the top because we're still editing. And now there's this play button at the top right, and you can hit play. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the deep waters. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. There you go. So there was the recording. Now you can do some editing if you want. If there were some mistakes, you can hold the segment and delete them. Any ones that are wrong, you can delete. You can also merge them as you see. So for example, this one was very short. It was just in the beginning. So I'm just going to merge these two. Merge assets. Now you can see there's a number 2 beside it. and that shows it was originally 2 different assets. And we're going to play through. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was formless and empty,
See, now
and darkness
it's all
covered
one
the deep
asset
water.
in the beginning.
You can also add in a segment. So, for example, if this one had a mistake, the earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the deep waters. You can be on that segment and then record, and it will put the new segment right below it, and then you can delete that wrong one. So I will do that, for example. The earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the deep waters. See, now it put it below here. So now we can play. The earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the deep waters. This one will also. The earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the deep waters. And then you can delete this one. And then you can play. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the deep waters. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. There you go. So those are all the editing functions. Once you are done editing, you can go back to the project, the chapter. You can sync it by hitting these arrows at the top left beside the word assets. And then it'll be synced to your phone, and that it will also make it accessible for anyone else that you are collaborating with on this project. Then you can also hit this share button on the top right and share it with your friends or community. And so you can hit share file. You can share it via WhatsApp, via whatever platform you use, Signal, and it'll send as a single audio file. And what we typically do is we get a group of people from the community, different demographics, older, younger. If you have a pastor, if you have a church, people from the church, we try to have at least around 10 people from the community who know the mother tongue language and the source language. And so they can listen to the audio recording, to the translation, and compare it with the original Bible, the source Bible, so they can help determine whether it is an accurate translation. Once you have done the community check, if you need to edit it anymore, if the community says, oh, this actually wasn't the right word, or there was some mistakes, you can hit this pencil button and it'll take you back to here. You can do any editing you need to do and send it back to them and get more feedback. Once it's fully done and the community fully approves it, you can upload it by hitting that cloud button, and it will upload to the app, it will upload to our database, and it'll be fully available for everyone to listen to. So those are the main functions. You can hit these top 3 bars at the top again, and it will take you to your profile. You can submit feedback if there's any bugs or any features that you think would be helpful. You can go there and give us feedback. You can change your password, you can change the language, you can change light or dark. And yeah, you can go back to projects. That is everything. Let us know if you have any questions, and I hope you have fun translating God's Word.